Sorry. For the first three folks, your responses were not recorded for posterity.
Amy. The book I would write today, and the reason I would write it would be because it meant that I knew the subject very well, would be identifying building problems by smell. The subject would be, is the smell the boilers are making right now a problem? Gabby.
I would write two books. Either would write a children's book, because that feels like my level. Or I could write a yes.
Would that be a mystery?
Ooh. Not over.
Yeah. Gabby.
So I love historical fiction and I would write a historical fiction novel because I love to research. And likely the topic would be the evolution of quilting, maybe along the southern coast of the US. Quilting is my avocation, so it would fit together. And I also am a huge fan of crime novels. So there would have to be in my fiction part, a murder that had to be solved. At least one. I got it all. One book. I only have one book in me.
Told once by someone that if you want to write a book, you have to read silent. I don't have ever had silent reading, but to answer this question, I think, I mean, I love both crime and when the son of a bitch gets killed, you know, and historical novels. But I think in the time that we live, to write something kindness and sharing stories. I'll make a little bit of like let there be peace in the world, let it be.
Yeah.
I maybe want to do some work on, the look, like amateur sports teams and communities for like television, role of like entertainment. For that, either that or my manifesto.
Joanne.
That begs the question. We'll talk later.
I thought a lot. I was just smiling because Carolyn wants to write about nice, and I just keep thinking about evil. Just this, I just have a pet peeve about a lot of Irish people of Irish descent writers. They don't get the women right. When women are really evil, they don't get them. They're not complex enough. And that's just the thing. So I'd like to do something with that. But that's all I'm gonna say. Never say they're related or anything.
I hear and obey. I'm trying to get Ken Watson, and apparently he's sitting in the Zoom waiting room, but I don't see anybody in the Zoom waiting room, so we have a small technical issue. I grew up in a very, very, very small town in northern British Columbia. If you know where the southern tip of the Alaska Panhandle is, go inland 300 miles. And there's a little tiny dot on it called Hazelton, population about 350 people. And I lived on a cattle ranch 6 miles outside of that. So if you want to know where the absolute end of nowhere is, that's it. And I was always fascinated by the stories and the tales of the native people, the Gitxsan Sand people. And I always wanted to collect them and put them in print. But by the time I learned enough about writing and got the wherewithal, the idea of a white man collecting the native stories and writing them was not going to happen. So that was the book I always wanted to write.
Okay, and Russell, do you want to contribute?
Yeah, it's interesting because I was actually thinking of one yesterday since I'm retired now. Actually, I have two, but the one that I was thinking about yesterday is my wife and I are part of the 251 Club. So we're more than halfway through. We've been members for quite some time, so we're not like rushing But one of the things we like to do in towns is certainly try a maple creamy if they have them. And often those are available in the little general stores. And those general stores will often have a bakery on premises, or they'll be selling local produce. So my idea was to do a review or a tour guide of the best general stores that are still in Vermont, particularly the ones that have original products there. And if you're familiar with Singleton's in Proctorsville, for instance, that would be a model where you can get ammo, guns, whiskey, and incredible smoked cheddar cheese and smoked bacon as well. So there's a lot of these, and not every town has them, but there's probably at least a dozen or more. We haven't completed the tour. So I thought at the very least that would be an interesting article for Yankee, but it might be a small tour guide book as well.
Have you been
That
to
would
Lincoln?
be.
Have I been to Lincoln? Yes. Yeah.
Really
and-
disappointed.
Oh, okay. That's another one.
BT Digger, somewhere
The
between.
Maple Creamy review. Yeah. Yeah. And the one in Virgins that they mentioned, the name is Olson's for Maple Creamies. They make their own ice cream there. Very, very good. The Bridgewater General Store on Route 4 has really good creamies as well as some great baked goods.
Check.
Yeah, if you're driving into Woodstock, you know, you can take a break on the way and check that out. Anyway, I could go on. I shouldn't. I haven't had dinner yet.
I know. We have a guest today. I don't know who you are. Can you introduce yourself, ma'am? Excuse me? Excuse me, ma'am? Can you tell us your name? Can you tell us your name? Your name?
My name is, yes, yes.
Welcome.
My hearing aid just died.
Oh,
Everyone is kind of hanging in there.
So we're gonna quick do the minute, and then I'm gonna have Amy give her report. Copy of the minute, and we're able to go over them. Do I have a motion to approve? Carolyn?
Second.
Lenny? In favor? Thank you. Amy's gonna do her report, because she may have to leave this meeting, so.
Thank you. I'm just really hanging in there on the help desk today, but didn't expect to make it till 8:30, so I'm just waiting. My reference page. Just real quick, was there any questions on the written report? Okay,
Sounds like you're
that's
busy.
my report, yes.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's
So
official.
then I would like to go to the committee report. Finance first, Joanne, are you ready? Oh,
I'm not in there yet. Oh, all right, I'll look at this. Thank you. Randall, can you,
I am hoping I can. I am having some issues with technology this evening. Got Russell on board just in time.
We broke it.
Well, you got the reports from Darby, who's doing a great job. The one thing I wanted to point out about the income is that we seem to be a little bit ahead of the game with the annual appeal. We had a large donation, I think, from Heritage Family, and then another anonymous
Yes,
$5,000 donation, so that's quite nice. The building is still costing us a lot. That's an issue. We've not, done, any kind of fundraisers yet, but I just did hear from Chipotle, that, they'll be doing a fundraiser for us during February vacation week. And I also put one in for Applebee's, because I'm all for kind of easy fundraisers, and clearly, if you look at me involving food, well, let's just, so we haven't met yet, our
Going to.
We're
very
going
soon.
to, and we're gonna try to get, another member to be the chair. We'll discuss that. You know, I think chairing a committee just really involves calling the meetings, sending the emails, keeping that kind of stuff. I don't mind helping, but I feel like being the treasurer is a lot of work. And I'll, do easy fundraisers and write checks. Somebody else has to run with the ball. You know,
You also have less investment of time in your, expenses, not a fundraiser. Randy is smart.
yeah. Yeah, those two, I mean, they're pretty easy, and I know that, we did them a good turn, right? Chipotle didn't really do anything.
Yes, Chipotle used our small meeting room to do all their hiring when they opened. Because it is available for virtually any purpose, so they just booked it day after day and did all their hiring. They're not the only company, 3 or 4 have done that. So hopefully they remember that.
And what's nice is they donate 25% of the till for the night, so if people go, we're gonna have our finance committee meeting there.
Well, and the other thing is we do need to advertise that, get
We
that
do.
out there. So we do that.
So that's, there'll be, posters and stuff I'll give, and then we'll,
And put it on the website.
and put it on the
Facebook page,
website.
all that kind of
Yeah. I just heard about it like at 3 o'clock this afternoon,
meeting
that they approved it.
And so that's, February.
18th.
18th.
It's during vacation,
Right.
and my computer has decided to die. It's beautiful though. See, isn't that pretty? Oh, different colors.
So it goes for one night?
Yeah, one night, 5 to 9. Yeah, there you go. Or till, yeah. So in terms of, the rest of it, we obviously had some losses on our investments last, month. We really can't control that, but we're pretty good for the year. Year to date, the big thing in terms of our, revenue is we haven't done any, fundraisers. Yeah, now on the balance sheet, you'll see that the cash is down by 12,000. That is nothing to freak out about because we received a $27,000 check and it's in undeposited funds, so it's not really. The check was sitting in the office and it was deposited right here, so that's pretty good. Does anybody have any questions, concerns? Issues? Yeah.
And I think I just want to again compliment everyone for the work that they did and getting the solicitation.
Oh, yes, yeah, so we took care of that, so we've got, 2 firms that have responded, O'Brien and Shortle. It's not an audit, it's compilation, and Punch. And, I'm sure we'll hear from a few other firms. And we'll take it from there and we'll let you know, we decide. The criteria, we want it done on time. And at a reasonable price.
Thank you, Joanne.
Okay, any questions, concerns? Nothing? Okay, good.
So, thank you. I'll report on the executive committee. We met last week, 2 weeks ago, whenever we met. I do want to ask Ken, he's on Zoom, because he went to the Rutland Town meeting last
They went to the
week.
Rutland Town meeting. No, Joe did. I'm not sure if Ken made it.
I was there.
Good, thank you.
So how did that go? Can you give us a little report or summary?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So it went about as easily as it could have, if I'm using that grammatically correctly. Joe spoke up as they were running through budget items and provided rationale behind our request for the increase, which frankly was in line with just about every other increase on the line items for the town as it relates to increasing insurance costs. We had no questions and there was no pushback from anybody, no additional commentary. So Joe spoke very eloquently and we were in and out relatively quickly.
Thank you so much. Thanks to you and Joe for both for going to that. I know Randall was not able to be there.
I was very asleep last night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well deserved, it sounds like, I think.
Thank you.
So the executive committee also talked a lot about the 21st century meetings that we're having. So first I want to talk about going to the Board of Aldermen committee meeting that Randall and I and Elizabeth went to. We got the community and economic.
Community and Economic Development
Yeah.
Committee.
To approve, and they will make the recommendation to the full board that the city would give us $25,000 to hire an architect and start that process so that we can start looking at the new building. Start looking at 88 Merchants Road to see what that will entail as far as finances. There was a really good discussion. Randall gave the slideshow that he's going to be showing tomorrow night. But in a very detailed, much longer presentation than what we will do tomorrow, because there were a lot of questions from the board. I felt it was very well received.
It was fabulous. It was really good.
And so I think that's really great. Then to just a reminder to everyone, if you could please come to the meeting tomorrow at 5:30. It's here, not at the Godnick Center. So that will be our first community meeting to talk about the potential renovations or changing or whatever we're going to do to get a 21st century library here in Rutland. That's really important.
If we come and you have assignments you want us to meet and greet or?
I have a bucket of name tags in my office, and they just identify you as a member of the board. So it'd be appropriate to wear those, but tomorrow's meeting is going to be very kind of bare bones. I'll give the slideshow. The mayor's going to talk for a few minutes. They're still trying to get me pictures of the gnarly parts of City Hall. They have not yet shared those with me, but I'm told they're available. So they'll probably show some of those as well. And then it's just going to be a Q&A. So it's going to be very sort of unstructured. The one that we are going to need some help with likely is the one on the 22nd, the lunch at the library. Has a lot of moving parts and they are increasing almost hourly.
And we do have a moderator that will be helping us tomorrow with our meeting, and that is Marcia Castle. So she will be facilitating the meeting, and so, and I don't know if you decided to have people sign up ahead of time if they want to speak.
She wants them to sign up at the door if they're going to have questions, just so we know who we're working with.
Right, and we felt that that would help with the progress of the meeting so that we have an opportunity to hear from everyone and hear what their concerns are. And, but, there'll also be some guidelines so that, you can't talk for 20 minutes, but you may be able to talk 3 or 2 or whatever. So, that I'm really looking forward to that meeting tomorrow. I think that, we really need to hear what the community has.
So Claire, she's gonna facilitate it?
Yep.
Okay, so she'll tell everybody what the rules are. And she'll tell everybody what the rules are.
Yes. He's going to tell everybody the rules.
That's perfect.
She has experience doing this and has a nice demeanor.
And then the other issue, which we need to talk about, is the union contract. Not have a personnel committee meeting yet.
Let's do that.
Okay. Yeah, so, we did talk about that at our executive meeting, and so we will defer to an executive session. Anything else about the executive committee meeting that Joanne, Joanne, is that? And
Rainbow showed us what
oh,
we
yeah.
had.
Oh, yeah.
Website, yeah.
Which I will not be able to do again today because what's happened is normally I log in with my home account on this laptop and the business account on this laptop. Unfortunately, Zoom seems to have cottoned on to the fact I am the same person, and it will not let me log on with this laptop without closing this meeting first. So I can't share my screen or any of those fun things. So I apologize. That's the technical issue today.
But Russell will help us with that.
Russell will solve all my technical.
Okay, Alan, you have something on policy?
So, Amy sent out the policy to everyone. It was previously called the flag policy and we kind of simplified it and renamed it to the promotional materials display policy. And we showed this to the board a couple of months ago, and we were looking at that point number 3 especially, but Kevin actually rewrote it in a much simpler way, so we're trying to simplify it. And we were trying to make it as neutral as possible so that we didn't appear to be advocating, the library doesn't appear to be advocating for any group. We kind of felt like if we let one group promote themselves, then it opens it up for everybody to. So it's written in a very neutral way. Only libraries. So the bottom part that's in green on this. Okay, anyone has any discussion of it?
I liked the simplicity of it. That really made it very simple. Appreciate the work you do. Any other comments on it?
Can we grandfather it for 2 months to give me a chance to get the now offending banner off the side of the building?
Your gateway banner.
What is this gateway banner?
So, do we vote to, somebody want to propose, what do we, do you want it effective March 1st?
As long as the board doesn't care if it takes me a month to get that down, just between now and the middle of February, I'm a little busy.
We have a few things going on. Yeah.
Leave the banner, let's just move. It is a nice banner. March would be the date.
Sure. Effective March 1st. I move that we approve the policy as written effective 2000. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed?
I'm gonna abstain.
I feel really hesitant, like I was here for that conversation and I don't agree. But I'm just one person and I don't know, like, I think I voiced my dissent when we had the conversation. So I guess that's a no, right?
Okay, with that. So. Carol, this one, I did a little update on what we just met, board government. committee. The board development committee met today for the first time and Ken unfortunately couldn't join us. I didn't communicate to get him set up by Zoom. Ken and I will be meeting next week, so I can fill him in. Typically, this is known as the nominating committee, but in board development is where the new stronger word is because it's putting people on.
as I said to the committee, and I ran a nonprofit and I've been on many boards, I believe that the most important committee of nonprofit is the board development committee. I think it's this committee that is bringing in future board members that strengthen the organization and follow the mission. So we met, and on the committee is Lenny, Gabby, and Ken, and Claire was here, and we looked over what we feel is the charge of the committee. There's really just two parts, the nominating part, and then the orientation, education, and assessment of trustees. I'm happy to get this out. I don't know, but basically, to assess the strengths of the current board, to a gap analysis, identify and cultivate board members. What we'd like to do is to work to have a pool of potential board members. So we have a vacancy right now. We all have a full slate, but we want to make sure we have cultivated people so the spot comes on, we know we need certain skills. So it's really an ongoing process. Our workload is a little light this year because of the number of spots we'll have to fill. Also to help identify officers and committee chairs and the all-important orientation of new trustees. You had the orientation. I know that Gabby has a number of people who go on boards and don't even know what the mission is or anything about it. So we're trying to strengthen that. So we met, and I think we're going to fine tune that. And then we think it's important to do, basically, I call it gap analysis, but really a survey of the skills that all of us have. I think, we may know you as market. Kevin, I always point to that when I see, a lawyer. We have skills beyond what people. We really to understand what skills are for two reasons. One is you may have something that, an asset that we could utilize on the board, and that'd be interesting to know. And the other thing is then we'll realize where we may have gaps. If we don't have a marketing person, but we need a marketing person, at least we then know this is the type of person we need to bring in on. The other thing we discussed and can talk about at a future date is one of the best ways to bring on new members is to sort of have a farm team, is to bring people on committees to say, would you like to serve on the committee or the marketing committee? That may either be a former board member because you don't want their interest and keep them engaged, but also prospective new members. So they get to know a little bit about the organization. They know the people who get invested. So we're trying to look at this strategically instead of saying, oh, we're 3 months away from October. We've got to find people. We want to do it that help strengthen this organization, because the library is going to go, we have a lot of work. And we want to make sure we have the talent on the board to help us achieve what we achieve. Gabby, Lenny, what have I missed out? Anything?
I think you covered everything. Thank you.
And once the committee, and I'll have to work with Claire, once we fill up this, revise this skill survey, we'll put it on the agenda or get it out. You can, take a few minutes to let us know all your skills and your surprise talent. And who's gonna do the cookbook? Because maybe we could have some delicious. Murder.
I'll have that Irish bitch do it.
Sorry.
Okay, thank you, Karen. Ma'am? Director's report.
So as always, please, give a look at the, report issued. Nothing from the, children's librarian. It has been a month for, staffing issues. I believe if it's going around Rutland, it has been through this building, through this staff this past month. It's been a challenge. Fair bit of housekeeping around January 22nd, the lunch at the library meeting. I now have a confirmation from Back to Balance folks that they would like to come. But they would like a tour of the potential new space at the same time, more or less, that I'm giving a tour of this space. And we have Catherine Del Neo, the state librarian, and she and Morgan Nichols from Becca Balance office need to meet. And so essentially, Amy and I need to be in a grand total of 3 places. So anybody who would like to help us, we're gonna need 3 or 4 sets of hands at a minimum to get that meeting done smoothly. So I will be taking nominations. Thank you, Claire. From anybody who is so inclined. It's gonna be,
What do we have to do? I couldn't tell if one leaf from another or what gases, or whatever you would like to do.
I was planning to come, but I don't know that I would be all that helpful.
I mean, part of it is just kind of hosting.
Chatty Cathy.
Yeah, awesome. It's gonna be fairly low key. I mean, I'm gonna jump on the hardest part, which is making sure that Morgan Nichols, who will be running 20 minutes late when we get to our 11 o'clock appointment, because that's how it works with members of the federal delegation, that she gets her full tour of 88 Merchants Row in the remaining 13 minutes we have before I have to bring her up the hill and meet Catherine Del Neo.
Question is, we were looking at the Rainbow Spirit calendar earlier today. If you were in the process of giving 2 tours, how are we going to get the small lunches to their representative?
That's an excellent question. Is that exactly that kind of sort of logistical little stuff we'll need to sort out? So yeah, please see me after the meeting and we'll just make sure that everybody's on the same page, because it's not going to be really strenuous. And mostly it's just putting a good face on the library for the folks that do show up. We are expecting a big turnout. It will be recorded by PEG TV. They were in earlier this week to get set up. So at 9 o'clock on the 22nd, they're going to show up and they'll be setting equipment up. And so it's going to be a busy place. Amy has volunteered to help me set up the actual chairs the night before because nobody is booked in the Fox room from, I think, like 4 o'clock the afternoon previous. So we've got lots of time. We are not, it's not panic stations, but it is going to be busy. Also on January 22nd, I thought it was a really good piece from Nina Keck today. I was super pleased with it. Thought she did a very nice job. I need to apologize to her because she and I toured the back half of the building and then we sat here and did the interview and then I dragged her through the front half of the building and she didn't use anything from the front half of the building and didn't complain about it either, which made me very grateful for her patience. Building committee, building problems. If I believed in the ghost, I would say the ghost is getting angry that we're talking about leaving this building. We have stuff failing at a rate, and it felt like, gee, maybe this probably just feels like it because it's hectic right now. But then I went and looked at the budget, and we are way over budget in building repairs so far this year as well. Recently, it's been plumbing. You name it. If it runs water in this building, we've had a problem with it in the last 3 weeks to a month. And then when I was giving Nina the tour, we went up to the back storage on the 3rd floor, which is not a space we get to very often. And I walked into the very back room and I was like, huh, that whole wall is white. Every time I've been in here before, that whole wall's been brown. And so while she was setting her equipment up, I took a look and it is the 1858 plaster. It's paint on plaster and the 1858 plaster has started to give way. And so instead of being painted, it's now white. And that's about 1/3 of the wall and probably gaining a foot every day, just to guess. That's also a concern because we have no idea if that paint is lead, based on the age of it. So, yeah, the pace of the issues seems to be increasing. And so we're picking pieces off one at a time. I will have a minor item for executive session and also the website. I've heard back from Byte something, our partners in the project, and they are looking for a group to go through the branding process with them, which is affiliated with but separate from the actual building of the website. We want a new brand in part because our current logo has a lovely picture of this building on it. And that won't be super appropriate if in fact we move. Plus it's, 20 years old and probably time for a refresh anyways. So if anybody is interested in doing a branding exercise, I will be taking volunteers for that as well. I'm going to send that note out to the friends and the staff. So it'll be a relatively wide net. Because I looked at the forms for the folks that did fill it out, and also the single most common suggestion for branding is that we use this building as the branding anchor. Yes, ma'am.
I saw that the branding questionnaire is pretty expensive. Do you know about what kind of time commitment that branding work would be?
I do not. I had asked them to give me a little better detail, and when I get it, I will forward it to everybody who might be interested. It was just, I got it, and then I did not get a chance to ask them in time to get it, to get an answer from them. So I will get that as soon as I can. And that's what I got. It's been crazy.
Thank you, Randall.
Yes, ma'am.
So that, the 21st Century Library update, really, really important that many of us show up for our meeting tomorrow night. Maybe get the 22nd. I know that's at noon, but we have to be able to make it. And then our final meeting is February 20th, another evening. I just want you all to be here and show up as much as you can. And then it sounds like we need to go into executive session.
We will. Are we gonna?
So, Russell, we would like to welcome you to the board.
Oh,
And
thank you.
I need a motion to see if somebody would like to make a motion to have us join the board. Yes.
You're not yet a member of the association.
That will need you paperwork. And then that means we can still vote on him, but we can't
Oh, with
be a member.
Point of order is Russell actually volunteered to come along and see if he was interested in joining the board. So waiting for him to express his interest after he sat through a meeting might be.
That might be.
That's called the assumptive close. Just move
Yeah.
ABC, always be closing.
No, I'm very excited, very thrilled and very honored. Thank you. I'm looking forward to contributing and helping with the 21st Century Project as well. And I'll be here tomorrow. Sounds like I was already planning on being here anyway, because I live in Rutland and pursuing the community.
So one of the requirements to be on the board is that you have to join the association, which is, I have the application right here, and then you have to have it for 30 days before you can actually be on. I am hoping that we can express the interest. I would like a motion to have him come to join the board. Carolyn made the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Anne made the second. All in favor?
Aye.
30 days from today.
From today. All right.
So you'll be officially voting member next month.
Okay. No, that's good.
And then if you can, so you and Gabby, I need to do an orientation. We need to do an orientation for you for the board.
Mhm.
So. The one we did before lasted about a couple hours. I think, yeah, because, and then, we got the tour of the building too, so we get the, and if there's a day of the week that will work better for you or whatever, I will try to work. And maybe help with that. Lots of little things to hand up.
Great. My calendar is fairly open.
Okay, great. Well, I have-
More than-
Well,
It's filling up.
excited.
Thank you. Thank you.
think now that's when we need to go into executive session.
Well, should we invite, public, comment?
Oh.
We don't usually have, members of the public join us, but it is
That's true.
appropriate to.
Did you want to make a comment at our meeting?
Did you want to comment?
Okay. Okay. Thank you for coming.
We have to pass a motion to go into executive.
Yeah.
So do you want to make a motion?
So we are going into executive. Thank you. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Yes.
I like your, I read this,
Thank you,
very good.
thank you.
So somebody want to move?
Do we want to move to include, Russell, given his pending status?
Yeah.
Oh,
So somebody needs to make a motion
I make a motion to go. into
Thank you.
Session.
and to include Anne, Randall, and Amy.
We have to say the reason.
Oh, and to discuss, some personnel.
Yeah.
And legal.
Discuss personnel and legal
And legal.
issues that have put the board at the library at a disadvantage.
What?
No.
That's what we were saying.
That's what your husband told us we had to say.
That's a good idea.
So we just said-
Okay, so Joanne